Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So you see this equation, m dot is equal this big equation, okay? So this equation needs measurements of specific humidity and as well as velocity at two locations, okay, along one vertical. But this can be simplified so that we can have measurements at only one location, because near to the water surface the u1 will be 0, okay? So at z is equal z naught, u1 is 0, and z is equal z naught, q1 is nothing but saturated specific humidity.
Hello, sir.
Hello, can you hear
Sir,
me?
we can't see your presentation.
Or you can't, but others, all of you are not seeing, or you are alone not seeing?
Sir, we can see the presentation.
Now,
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
sir.
okay,
we
see,
can see, sir.
okay, thank you. It shows red, what red border line.
हेलो बच्चों, कैसे हैं आप?
Okay.
आप बिल्कुल सही हैं।
Please, somebody has their mic on. Please switch off. Okay. Okay. So you look at this equation where the QE1, QE2, U2, U are needed at two locations. Okay. But we can simplify this equation. We can have only measurements, that is specific humidity, and U2 at only one location, because when near to the ground surface, near to the water level, that is z0, u is equal 0, and as well as the humidity is vapor pressure is saturated vapor pressure, okay, because q is nothing but 0.622 E by P, okay. So we can substitute that. Then as well as we can substitute at z1 is equal z0 and u1 is equal to 0, okay. Then we'll get this equation, and m dot is given as rho w ae, and a is nothing but 1 meter square. So we can directly E is equal this equation divided by rho w. So finally we can write this equation in a simplified form, that is E is equal B into saturated vapor pressure minus atmosphere vapor pressure of atmosphere, and whereas B is equal given by 0.62 k square rho a u2 divided by P rho w, and square of log z2 by z0. So in this equation, u2 is known, rho a is known, k is given as 0.41, that is nothing but von Karman constant, and P is the atmospheric pressure, okay, and rho w is density of water. So z2 is known, and z0 is you can say known, okay, because it can be computed by knowing the roughness height. So we can do one example, okay. So this is the one numerical problem to calculate evaporation using aerodynamic method. So this is the same problem as we have solved using energy balance method, okay. So first we need to calculate B, okay. So B is equal 0.62 k square rho a u2 by this. So all the terms are given in this equation, okay. So we can calculate B is equal 4.54 into 10 power minus 11, and saturated vapor pressure we can calculate because the temperature is given. So we know the equation to calculate saturated vapor pressure at a given temperature. So ES is computed as 3167 Pascal, and we need to know vapor pressure of atmosphere, that is nothing but relative humidity into saturated vapor pressure. So relative humidity is given as 40%, okay. So therefore EA is calculated as 1267. So all the quantities are known to use aerodynamic method to calculate evaporation. Then evaporation is calculated as 7.45 millimeter per day. So next important method is combined method, because energy method, it assumes that vapor transport is not limiting. That means it assumes that there enough wind speed is there, okay, to push away the vapor from the water surface. And whereas aerodynamic method assumes that there is enough sun radiation, okay, therefore energy supply is not limiting. But normally both are limiting, okay. There could be lesser wind speed, and as well as there could be lesser energy supply. So in these conditions, uh, there is a superior method. It is called as a combined method, which is a combination of aerodynamic method and energy method, but it gives certain coefficients for the values calculated using this aerodynamic method and energy balance method. So you see that E is equal delta by delta plus gamma ER plus gamma by delta plus gamma. Here this delta is nothing but gradient of saturated vapor pressure with temperature, whereas gamma is called as a cyclomatic constant. So here is explained how to calculate the gamma value, okay, because since the sensibility and as well as the water vapor, they are transported using convection method. So therefore Bowen is a professor. He proposed that the sensibility and as well as water vapor heat flux both are proportional. So therefore the ratio he has given it as beta. We know that LV MV dot is, this is a water vapor heat flux, that is equal to net radiation minus sensible heat minus heat transferred to the ground, okay. And let us assume that G is equal to 0, okay. Then Hs is given by this equation, that is beta is equal to Hs by LV MV dot. So we can get net radiation is equal LV MV dot into 1 plus beta. Now this MV dot, that is mass flow rate of water vapor in the upward direction. So that is given as by using this transport equation, that is minus rho a kW dq by dz. And similarly we can write Hs is equal rho a Cp kh dt by dz, whereas kW is, this is water vapor eddy diffusivity, whereas kh is heat diffusivity, Cp is specific heat. So by taking ratio of these two equations, we can get Hs by mv dot is equal Cp khu T2 minus T1 by kW qV2 minus qV1. We can write this specific humidity as 0.622 E by P. Then we can get this equation, okay. So whereas we kh is equal to kW, okay, it assumed that kh is equal to kW because both are driven by convection. So Cp is known and all the terms are known, okay. So we can get beta is equal gamma into T2 minus T1 by E2 minus E1. So this gamma is called as a cyclomatic constant. So in this combined method, delta is known, gamma is known, ER is known, J is known. So we can calculate the correct evaporation. But many times another scientists, another professors, Priestley and Taylor, okay, because the gamma computation is difficult. Therefore, he has taken some constant for this gamma by delta plus gamma, okay. So then he has expressed E is equal 1.3 delta by delta plus gamma ER. So this is experimentally, it is found out that this equation can be simplified as this. Let's solve one numerical using combo method. Okay. So in the previous two numericals, we've already calculated evaporation by using energy balance method and as well as aerodynamic method. So using this energy balance method, we have got ER is equal 7.10 mm per day, and using aerodynamic method, we got evaporation is 7.45 mm per day. Then calculate gamma and delta. Okay, for delta the equation is given, and for gamma also equation is given, so we can calculate gamma and delta. And you see that these coefficients, that is delta by delta plus gamma and gamma by delta plus gamma, summation of these two coefficient is equal 1.0. Okay, so we are giving weightages, such weightages to ER and EA, that is evaporations calculated by energy balance method and aerodynamic method. The summation, when we sum those, the coefficients summation will be 1. So using this method, uh, E, that evaporation calculated as 7.2 mm per day. You can see that uh, you can see that using combo method it is 7.10, using aerodynamic method it is 7.45. So aerodynamic method given higher evaporation, and combo method is given lower evaporation, and this combined method, it has given an intermediate value as 7.22 mm per day. So combo method is more accurate out of these three methods, and this combo method simplified by Priestley and Taylor. So they have given equation E is equal 1.3 delta by delta plus gamma ER, where ER is calculated using energy balance method. So from this equation, the evaporation is calculated as 6 mm per day. So you can see that this Priestley-Taylor method underestimated the value. So this evaporation is considerable from the large reservoirs. Suppose uh, a large reservoir which is size of 300 kilometers square, and evaporation losses in water, average value is taken as 160 centimeter per year. Okay, so for this reservoir which has got 300 kilometer square surface area, the evaporation loss is calculated as 48 into 10 power 6 meter cube. Okay, so this is a huge value. Therefore there are few investigations to reduce the evaporation losses, so that we can use that water for irrigation or power generation, etc. So there are investigations, and so there are some you can say that methods developed for reducing evaporation. So these methods are, if possible, to have a deep reservoir instead of shallow reservoir, so that the surface area will be less, so evaporation will be less. But anyway, as I mentioned, it doesn't matter whether it's a deep reservoir or shallow reservoir, because deep reservoirs the evaporation will be higher during the winters. And other methods to cover up the reservoir, okay, this is not possible. This is possible only for small ponds, okay, which can be used for agricultural purposes, like these days it is recommended to have rainwater harvesting pits in agricultural fields, so that that water can be used for irrigation. So these are all small pits, and these pits can have mechanical covers. Next important method to reduce evaporation is to provide a chemical film on the water surface. So for this, cetyl alcohol and stearyl alcohol are used. Okay, so these layers prevent water to escape. So to have any chemical film, uh, it should have some characteristics. Okay, because it should not be toxic, and it should be strong so that it will not break during waves. But anyway, these are theoretical studies. Okay, in real life, for large reservoirs, to have these evaporation reduction measures is uh, difficult or almost impossible. So in the evapotranspiration, as of now, I taught evaporation. So next important component of this evapotranspiration is transpiration. So by the transpiration, the water leaves body of a living plant and reaches atmosphere as water vapor. Similar to the evaporation, the important factors affecting transpiration are is almost same factors: atmospheric vapor pressure, wind, and light intensity. That is nothing but sunlight. Then characteristics of the plant, because some plants they evaporate a lot of water, because generally uh, some trees which are having a small leaf size, but they are having more leaves, and some tree which are having very big leaves, like banana tree. Okay, but only few leaves. Generally the tree which has small leaves and more number, its total surface area is large, so therefore it evaporates, it transpires more water. And there's another important distinction between evaporation and transpiration, because evaporation occurs during uh, evaporation can happen during day time and night time, whereas transpiration occurs only during daytime, because for transpiration sunlight is required. So in engineering, this water loss by evaporation is also called as consumptive use. Okay, there are a few important definitions. So I am going to discuss. So we have to know before learning this consumptive use, we need to know what is potential evapotranspiration and actual evapotranspiration. So potential evapotranspiration is, this is the maximum evapotranspiration. Okay, when the water supply is not limited to the surface and as well as to the trees, the evaporation will be maximum. So that is called as potential evapotranspiration. But in real life, especially during summertime, the water availability as a soil moisture to the land and as well as water availability to the plants is less. So therefore, evapotranspiration is less. That is called as actual evapotranspiration. So these are important terms like permanent wilting point and field capacity in irrigation engineering. So field capacity is the maximum quantity of water that soil can retain against the force of gravity. We know that the soil has air voids. Okay, soil has voids, and these voids are filled with water. Okay, But when this soil is saturated, uh, still gravitational forces can pull some water from that. Okay, so once some water is lost due to the gravity, the soil, due to its uh, cohesive forces within this water filled voids, uh, it retains the water, so that is called as field capacity. And permanent wilting point, so permanent wilting point is uh, because plant, it can take water from field capacity to a permanent wilting point. This is called as available water for plant. I'll show you one picture that explains better. So if moisture content decreases below this permanent wilting point, that water cannot be available for a plant. So you see that these are the this is a schematic. I mean, these are figures. They explain what is field capacity. See here, this is soil which is saturation is 100% or more than saturated. So in this condition is not favorable for the plant. Okay, so you see that the plant is dying due to the excess water available. And at this condition, some water uh, moves downward, that is percolates due to the uh, gravitational forces. Okay, once the sufficient amount, the water which can be drained by gravity, the leftover water, that is called as field capacity. So from field capacity, you see that at the field capacity, not all voids are filled with water. Some voids are without water, and this is the favorable condition for the plant to grow. So from field capacity, this water is taken by the plant, and with the time the water decreases. At certain point of time, the water will be very less in the soil. That is called as hygroscopic water. That water cannot be taken by the tree because this hygroscopic water is tightly uh, fixed to the soil particles. Okay, the adhesive forces between the soil and water molecules is very strong, and water cannot be taken by the plant, and this is called as a permanent wilting point. If the water level goes below this permanent wilting point, the water is not available to the plant. Okay, so the water available from field capacity to permanent wilting point, that is called available water. So at field capacity, the actual evapotranspiration by potential evapotranspiration is called 1.0. That means at field capacity, actual evapotranspiration is equal potential evapotranspiration. And at permanent wilting point, since that is only hygroscopic water which cannot be released by the soil, so actual evapotranspiration is 0. So therefore the ratio of actual evapotranspiration by potential evaporation is 0 at permanent wilting point. So measurement of evapotranspiration. Okay, earlier to measure evaporation, we know that evaporimeters are used, but similarly to measure evapotranspiration, there are two uh, methods. I mean, experimentally to measure evapotranspiration, they are named as lysimeters and field plots. So lysimeter is a measuring device which can be used to measure amount of actual evapotranspiration which is released by land and vegetation in the land. So you go. So lysimeters, of course, it can also measure PET also at field capacity. Lysimeters are two types, weighing type and non-weighing type. So lysimeters are buried in soil at the same level inside and outside the container. So I'll show you the photograph. You can understand better. Okay. So these lysimeter studies are time consuming and they're expensive. You see here, this is a lysimeter. Okay. So this is used for to measure transpiration. You see that this is a container which has got soil, and this is also there is a another container which takes away the overflowing water. Suppose this soil is watered, okay, above the field capacity, then what happens, that extra water which can be drained by gravity, that reaches to this outer container. Okay, so now, so this water is at field capacity in this container which is having this grass. So we know that how much amount of we know how much amount of water added. Okay, and we know how much water drained by the gravity. Okay, so by subtracting that, we'll have amount of water retained in this container. But so by taking the weights, but the water is transferred by this grass. So therefore, there is a reduction in water day by day. By weighing this container, we can find how much water lost by transpiration. So this is a typical schematic of a lysimeter. Okay, so you see that this is a tank which is having soil and as well as top fully covered with grass, so that there is no evaporation from land, only the transpiration from the grass. And we will add some amount of water, that amount we know. And but due to rainfall, because this is a field study, there can be rainfall also, so some water added from the some water it receives from atmosphere as rainfall. So we should know that value that is measured using this rain gauge. So once the soil moisture content above the field capacity, that water is drained. Okay, and that water goes to this receiver. So we know what is the total water added to this by rain and as well as by manually, and we know what is the water which is drained, which is percolated due to gravity. So we can use rainfall. We can get potential evapotranspiration, that is equal to rainfall plus water added manually minus percolated water to the ground. So that gives potential evapotranspiration. You see, this is the flow chart. A soil, a fully covered grass. Okay, there is a transpiration from the grass, and water is added manually, and as well as rainfall, there is a percolated water. So we can get potential of when this soil is at field capacity, we can get potential of transpiration is equal to rainfall plus manual water added manually minus percolated water to the ground. Then field plots also used uh, to measure transpiration in the field, because what is done in field plots, a certain area is taken as certain part of the field is taken for the experimentation. Okay, so it is properly bounded, and what is irrigated in that land. So therefore, the excess water goes away, runoff. We know the irrigation input, that is whatever water is given to that, and there could be rainfall. So that is measured by rain gauge, that is given as precipitation. So evapotranspiration is equal precipitation plus irrigation input minus runoff, and we will be measuring the water content in the soil with the time to time. Okay, so whatever the that is minus increase in soil storage, then minus groundwater loss. So this minus groundwater loss is very difficult. Therefore, the water is maintained at field capacity. Okay, so the groundwater loss, that will be zero, and so whatever the water quantity, so always the water is maintained at field capacity. Therefore, the evapotranspiration is equal precipitation plus irrigation input minus runoff. That gives evapotranspiration in field plot. Because evapotranspiration is the estimating evapotranspiration is very important, because whenever in irrigation planning, because every crop it needs water for its own photosynthesis and as well as transpiration, and each plant this evapotranspiration values are different. Okay, suppose if reservoir is full, we can go for plants which are having higher evapotranspiration, but during the water scarcity we can go for agricultural, I mean harvesting of only plants which are having lower water requirements. So therefore, this evapotranspiration measurements are important. Uh, for evapotranspiration, we can use the combined method. Okay, also analytically to calculate evapotranspiration. In that, uh, we have this energy balance method and aerodynamic method. In aerodynamic method, we have a constant V. Okay, and this constant V, uh, when we use this combined method for calculating evapotranspiration, the V is calculated as this formula. B is just function of wind velocity. B is equal 0.0027 into 1 plus U by 100, where B's units are B units are millimeter per day, and U is wind speed in kilometer per day. So we can use B is equal this formula, and we can use combined method to calculate evapotranspiration. We need to find actual evapotranspiration for different crops. Okay, so for that one, actual evapotranspiration ET of a given crop is equal uh, KSKC into ETR. So generally, uh, this actual evapotranspiration, which is a function of climatic conditions and as well as climatic conditions, soil conditions, and as well as crop conditions. So therefore, actual evapotranspiration in one place of a given crop is different for the same crop in another location. So the best way to calculate actual evapotranspiration is KSKC ETR. ETR is evapotranspiration of a reference crop. Generally, the ETR is calculated for grass, and that also uh, because our earth we can divide into three regions. Okay, that is tropical and polar regions and some other regions. Okay, so for the same grass, the ET value will be different in these three locations. ETR will be different in three locations, and that too we have three seasons. Okay, rainy season, summer season, and winter season. So ETR will be different again in the three seasons. So the table is developed for a grass ETR values in 3 regions and as well as 3 seasons. So but this KS and KC, there generally KC represents the growing stage of the crop. Okay, when crop in maturity, the KC value is almost 1.0, whereas during the seeding time, when the seeds are planted, the KC value is almost 0, and the KC value again decreases during the harvesting season. So the KC is a function of the growing season of the growth of the plant, whereas KS represents the soil water conditions. Suppose the water is maintained at field capacity, then KS is equal 1. Suppose water is maintained at permanent wilting point, KS value is almost close to 0. So using these ETR values and KC values and KS values, we can calculate actual transpiration for any crop. So there is an we can do. So this is the KC value with respect to the growth of the plant. Okay, so K1, that is during, you see that this bottom figure, during the one where the seeds are planted, into these plants are coming out. Okay, so and growing, so this time they need lot of water, and once the crop it reaches sufficient growth and only maturing during that period. So during that period, the it needs lot of water, but during entire period the quantity of water required is kind of constant. But once it is now reaching its harvesting, then it doesn't need water. Okay, so we have to cut off the water supply. So you can see that the KC value changes in this way. These are 4 seasons, 4 stages: initial stage, development stage. You see that initial stage it only reaches around 10% of water. During development stage, it requires around 70 to 80%, and mid season it needs this 70 to 80% of water. Then late season, fully maturity and reaches full maturity and ready for harvesting, then it doesn't need it, water requirement is less. So we can calculate the water requirement during different stages of a crop using this guideline. So there is an example. The monthly values of reference crop ETR are given by combination method for average conditions in Silistra, Bulgaria, and the crop coefficients for corn as shown in the table. So that is nothing but KC. So KC is given. If you look at this, they are given K1 value, K2, K3, and so the K4, K1, K2, K3. So you can see that here. So K1 is this, K2 is this point, whereas K3 is again same. No, K2 is the maximum water, that is K2. Then at harvesting, it is K3. So K1, K2, K3 are given, and the times of this K1, K2, K3 are given. Okay. So at T1 is equal April 1, T2 is equal June 1, T3 is equal July 1, T4 is equal September 1, T5 is equal October 1. So you see here T1, T2, T3, T4, T5. T1 is the initial time, T5 is the harvesting time. So now we can correlate the KC values with respect to this T1, T2 up to T5 as given in this question. So now we have to calculate the actual evapotranspiration from this crop, assuming a well-watered soil. So assuming a well-watered soil means the water content is maintained at field capacity. That means Ks is equal 1. So table is given in the next slide. You see ETR. This is calculated by a combined method for reference crop. Okay, so that is given as for different months. Like for April it is 4.14, May 5.45, June 5.82, and July 6.60. Then again August 5.94. So you can see that this evapotranspiration of reference crop, that is April is just summer is starting. Okay, so as we are moving into the summer, the ETR values are increasing. So once the summer is over at the July end, then the ETR values are decreasing. So for total amount of water required by the reference crop uh, during this 6 months period, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, during 6 months period is 34.3 mm. So now Kc, that is the crop coefficient. So Kc is given as 0.38 in April and 0.38 in April. Okay, so this we can relate it from the this figure and the description of the question. So it's very easy. So we can get Kc is equal 0.38 point. You see that this 0.69 is calculated as, this is the midpoint of the slope. Okay, that increasing slope during the growth time. So that is 0.38 plus 1.0 by 2. Similarly, the September, that is again falls in the downward slope during the after maturity and fine harvesting. So that 0.78 is calculated as uh, 1.00 plus 0.55 divided by 2. That gets 0.78. Okay, so now Kc values are given for each month. Then K's value is 1.0 throughout the duration, because it is water supply is not limiting. Okay, so we can get actual evapotranspiration of corn in April is 1.57. This is nothing but multiplying 0.38 into 4.14. So we get 1.57. And for May we get 2.07 by multiplying 0.38 with 5.45. Similarly we'll get for all the months. Then we add together, we get 24.7 mm. Okay, so you see that grass compared to the corn, grass is requiring more water. This reference grass, it required 34.3 mm, whereas the corn crop, it required 24.7. Okay, so this amount, this is not, generally this is nothing but 72% of the value of grass cover. So in this class, uh, so I taught what is evaporation, factors affecting evaporation, then how to measure evaporation, that is evaporimeters, and how to mathematically estimate evaporation. So we have discussed three methods: energy balance method and aerodynamic method, then combined method. Then we have also discussed how to reduce evaporation from water bodies. Then I explained transpiration and factors affecting transpiration. Then how to experimentally measure transpiration. by using lysimeter, okay, and as lysimeter and field methods. Then finally I taught how to calculate evapotranspiration of a given crop using the data of a reference crop. So we have discussed the equation to calculate actual evapotranspiration, that is equal to AET is equal to KSKT ETR. So we know what is Ks and Kc and ETR. So using this method to calculate evapotranspiration, uh, we can find AET for any crop. Okay, so this is all about evapotranspiration. Okay, thank you.